Hey guys, what's up? I think that there are some fundamental flaws with capitalism. And this is probably going to piss people off because people act like God invented capitalism. He didn't. We did. People act like there's only two economic systems that are possible in all of possibility. There's only two. There's capitalism and communism. There's socialism too, but that's like that just leads to communism. That's like a some economic theory crap that I'm not going to get into. The way that capitalism was described to me, was explained to me, is if you have two pizza places, right? The pizza place that makes better pizza is going to succeed because people are going to go there instead of the place that makes the somewhat worse pizza. And and so one of them is going to um, thrive, and the other one is not. Might go out of business or whatever. Who cares? Because they were lazy and they made not as good pizza as the other place. But nobody ever talks about what happens after that. The other pizza place could get shut down. Everybody gets laid off. It's survival of the fittest, and people act like that's a good idea because it's natural. That's what that's how God intended it. Humans have never been big on survival of the fittest. I'm gonna make this point real quick before I get to my actual point. You can hear the generator in the background, by the way, because I'm off the grid and poor. So I'm going to make this point real quick before I make my actual point, and that is that archaeologists find humans all the time that are very old that shouldn't have lived, but someone took care of them. This is before medicine. I mean, well, I say before medicine. It's before modern medicine. We got through the ice age by helping each other. Now, my actual point is, I have a few of them, so I'm going to try to remember them all. The first one is, if it's survival of the fittest, that's fine. But you have to have a system in place to do something with the people that are not the fittest. I was having a conversation with my friend who I work for the other day, and we were talking about. I think I stupidly brought up capitalism. My friends are pretty traditional. They're Christian. They love America. They're good people, but they're set up like they're loaded, and I don't think that I think that they can only see things from their perspective. They can't really see what's up from like a Gen Z or a millennial perspective because they're not millennials or Gen Z. They're engineers. Like they're set. They did the thing. Capitalism worked for them. You know what I mean? Now America was different when they were succeeding, but they succeeded, and good on them. Like hard work, a lot of hard work. Parts of their lives really sucked, and that's admirable. That's commendable. They did the thing. But we were talking about it, and she was like, "Well, they tax us like 50% of our income, and do you think that's fair? Like, do you think? Like, I mean, you work for us. This is what she was saying. Uh, we wouldn't be, I mean, like, they they tax the crap out of us. You're supposed to be on our side, And I'm like, and at the time, I didn't have the words to I didn't have a way to say it. I had to think about it afterward. Like when we weren't arguing, but you know how you have an argument with somebody and you think about the words to say afterwards. I was a little bit mad at myself because I agreed with her at the time, and I don't agree. But then I realized I do agree. I don't think that they should be taxed 50% of their income. Here's what happened, I think, right? And I'm just a dude. I'm wrong about stuff all the time. And if you disagree with me, go on ahead and let me know, or don't, or whatever. It's okay for us to disagree, you know. But you have to have a system in place to do something with the people that aren't not the fittest. And I think we just, not we, because it wasn't us that did it. I think that the people that implemented capitalism as an economic system implemented it, they put it into action before it was complete, before it was a complete economic system. I think it's just got gaping holes in it. We didn't have anything to, we didn't have a system in place to do something with the people that were not the fittest. And then we got down the road a little ways and we realized that there are a lot of people that are not the fittest, because life happens and things get hard and things happen to people, and so what happens is you have to do something with them. So we improvised. We started taxing rich people, people that do well in the system, a lot, in order, because they're fine. They're going to be fine. They have so much money, they're rolling in it. They're rich. We started taxing these rich people the money that we needed to give to the poor people to keep them alive, because you have to do something with them. And the reason is, you can just let them die, right? Like I'm gonna make that clear. Sure, go ahead. Let's say, just for the point of argument, this has nothing to do with morals or ethics or any of that crap. You can go on ahead and just let them die, right? Let them starve. But it's going to cost you money either way, right? It costs money to feed people and to keep them safe and alive and happy. And it costs money to do something with the dead bodies. Either way, it's going to cost you money. And if you let them die, you have to do something with all the dead bodies, for one. And for two, you lose all of that person's potential. And that might sound like it's not that bad. But if you think about it, one person could live 60, 70, 80 years. If that person dies before they ought to, you could lose like 30 years of or more of that person's potential. That person could have participated in the workforce. That person could have had a good idea that helped us move along. That person could have helped another person who had a good idea, that moved us along. Potential, like, compounds over time. Like, there's a lot that you can get out of a person, and you're getting these people for free, by the way. Like, two people fuck, and that makes a new person, right? That's a free dude that is in your civilization now. You just got that person for free. It was probably an accident, to be real. And that is one more to your population, which is a good thing. You I mean, it depends. Like, a person could be crazy or something. That person could be a drain on the economy. But, and you can argue that, like, the people that are not the fittest are just a drain on the economy, but that's not true, though, is it? Because the average person isn't stupid. The average person is average. That's what average means. Is average not good enough for you? Why is it that it's such a sin nowadays to be average? What is wrong with being average? What is wrong with being mediocre? Nothing. That's normal. That's what most people are. That's what average means, right? So I'm going to pause this video for a minute because I got to think of my next point, because I have like 4 of them or something, and I need probably to light my pipe again, and I don't want to waste your time. The second flaw, fundamental flaw in capitalism that I think I'm seeing is, and I'm not saying that capitalism's bad, okay? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's I think that it is an incomplete economic system. The second problem that I'm seeing with capitalism is that it relies really pretty heavily on the consumer to, man, how do I say this? It puts responsibility on the consumer to judge which pizza place is better. Remember the metaphor or the analogy or whatever it was I made earlier with the 2 pizza places. People tend to prioritize convenience over quality. So that pizza place that made a better pizza in the beginning of the video, it's not even necessarily a better pizza. It could be just a cheaper pizza, or, like a more affordable pizza, or maybe they do delivery, or maybe you like the box because it keeps the pizza hotter than like the other guy's box or whatever. And you can say, like, okay, well, all of those things add up to make a better product. And yeah, sure. But why then is there so much planned obsolescence and just crap products that, like, it's gotten to the point now where it's like these companies don't even do QA anymore. They just sell you the product and a warranty on top of it because they know the damn thing's going to break. It's engineered to break. Pizzas don't break, but you know what not everything is a pizza. You get, and oh my God, man. So far we have an economic system where it's survival of the fittest, and no one is like really accurately judging the quality of these products that everyone consumes. And then you blame it on the consumer, like it's their freaking fault that it got this way. Because, why didn't you support the right businesses? My third point, and these points aren't in any order. They're just like whichever one comes to my head next. The third problem that I think I'm seeing is that it becomes all about money. When it's survival of the fittest, and the thing that you need to live is money, like that's the reward for being a hardworking, diligent, good American, is money. You need money to survive, and you might think, well, no, I could just go live off the land. Whose land? All the land's claimed. what land are you going to go live off of, really? And even if you do, like, even if you manage to like buy a freaking whole forest, and you live in there with the deer and the coons and the squirrels and the possums and the armadillos, and you're living off the land, you're fishing and you're planting, corn or whatever. Like, you still have to have a hunting and fishing license to do that. And you have to have all of that knowledge. Where are you getting all this knowledge from? Right? Like, people act like, um, people act like you're bad if you're lazy, right? But if you've ever taken a survival course, or like an emergency course, the first thing they tell you, well, they tell you a few things. They tell you you need to boil your water for 10 minutes. They tell you that you need to be able to put up a shelter in roughly 3 hours. And they tell you, don't go anywhere. Don't do anything or you are going to die. You don't know where you are. You know what I mean? Even if you do know where you are, like, we evolved to be lazy because that is how you live in the wild. You don't just run around spending calories on dumb shit. Running around spending calories on dumb shit is how you die. So we're not doing what we evolved to do. We're basically still in the industrial revolution. We're in like a like a we never really stopped doing the industrial revolution. Like, we're just at the next part of that. We're doing the same shit that we were doing then, with more regulation and less asbestos. But like, now we have microplastics, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of the same fucking thing. You get more days off. I don't know how they did it back then, to be real, because I would have lost my freaking mind. To be real, uh, this is all kind of a moot point anyway, because there's gnats everywhere. I cannot stand it. It's kind of a moot point anyway, because America isn't really capitalist. It's a mixed economy. Capitalism is an economic system. Communism is an economic system. Well, communism, the definition, it's a political and economic system. Now, I read most of the Communist Manifesto. I never finished it because it's kind of preachy and kind of dry, and it just I wasn't getting anything out of it really at the time. Maybe I'll go back and read it again. I don't know. I doubt it. But China's not really communist. It's a mixed economy, because realistically, pure capitalism and pure communism don't really tend to work. Well, China is a mixed economy that maybe skews towards communism under a dictatorship. So it's kind of funky over there. Like, our police department in the U.S., our police system is kind of socialist. It's like it's paid for with the tax money, as far as I understand. And the fire department is kind of the same way, because if you had to pay the police to come out and get rid of bad guys, or if you had to pay the fire department to come out and put your neighborhood out when it's on fire, it just wouldn't work very well. And they get that. I don't know why it doesn't extend to healthcare, to be real, because you would think, you know, let's not die. And people are always like, well, who's going to pay for this crap? Who's going to pay for this crap? And it's us. you know? But because they're always like, well, we're the ones that are going to have to pay for all this if it comes out of the taxes, pay for other people to benefit with our money, you know. But the government's corrupt. We all know that. It's been that way. It's notorious. Like, it's not even a question. We all know the government's corrupt. It's not that the money's not there. It's that it's going everywhere else besides where it needs to go. When everything's all about money, money becomes the priority because you need it to live. So it becomes the priority over integrity, empathy, everything. That's why there's no more integrity. Everyone, I'm coining a new term, soft scamming, right? There's there's illegal scams, which everybody understands what that is when the definition, we're gonna use this definition for it. It's pretty close to the actual definition, but I'm paraphrasing, okay? A scam is when you trick somebody in order to get your way. Sometimes, a lot of times, that ends up with them not getting their way, right? And most of the time, getting your way means getting more money. So when everything becomes about money, you can't make a law for everything. You can't make a law for every possible action a person could take. You can't make everything illegal, you know? So there's always going to be a legal way to screw someone over. You can't stop it from happening. You can make laws until you've got what we have now, which is a system that's so convoluted and overly complicated that you need a specific person with a profession to go and read all that crap so that they can interpret it for the legal system to work at all. Because there's no integrity. There's no code of there's no equally agree not equally there's no massively adopted, agreed upon code of conduct that we all just agree to outside of the legal system, because money is more important to everyone because you need it to live. So to recap, so far we have survival of the fittest. That's the economic system that relies too heavily on the consumer to judge the value of things, to choose where they put their money, and we've just lost all integrity. Look around at all the giant churches and the government buildings that are like. I remember back in COVID, when Trump was at the time that Trump was still president or whatever, and there was this bill that they were going to pass. It was when they were doing the stimulus checks and stuff. There was this bill that they were going to pass, and you can look this up. I remember it vividly because I thought, what the fuck? They passed the bill, but in the bill was like some crazy amount of millions of dollars to refurnish the Senate. How expensive is furniture, to be real? Like, what do you need millions of dollars to refurnish the Senate for? To be real, I completely forgot what my fourth point was, and I cannot remember. But there's something else too, and this part's kind of scary. Technology doesn't add on itself. It doesn't multiply on itself. It compounds. So the more technology you have, the faster you can make new technology. And the more technology you have, the faster you can make new technology. And the more technology you have, the faster you can make more technology. And so we've gotten to the point now where we doubled the workforce effectively in World War II. During the World Wars, we basically doubled the workforce. Women have always worked. I don't know where this idea comes from that women didn't work. They've always worked. There's always been laundresses and seamstresses and all the S's, but they also stayed home with the kids and started families and shit. But we doubled the workforce in the World Wars. And then, now, we could automate half of it. There's just not that much shit to do. You can buy strawberries in February. We've kind of figured it all out. We could automate, probably, and I'm guessing, okay, because I don't know everything about every field, and I'm not really a tech bro or anything, but we're starting to get self-driving cars at the time that I'm making this video, right? You're starting to see them around. We're getting self-driving cars, which means self-driving semis, which means self-driving forklifts, and the AI can already do inventory. There's going to come a point where we don't really need anyone in warehouses anymore. We don't really need anyone to drive anything. AI can write. AI can draw pictures. AI can make videos. AI can act pretty well. AI can do psychology. AI can pass a bar exam. And everybody's scared of UBI, because then the government is going to have control over your money. Guys, man, what? The government can take control of whatever they want. They have the U.S. military. We're so far past, like, oh no, the government knows where I live that it's not even funny. Like, the government knows your account numbers. You think they don't? Bruh. During COVID, Canada, you remember the trucker strike? They just froze all their bank accounts. You don't think they could do that here? Bruh. Like, I digress. I don't know how to close this video out. But if you really want to argue with me about it, you go on ahead. I really might be wrong. I mean, I'm just a dude. All I have is my perspective and my brain power and my, ideas about things. And I'm just a dude doing his best, man? And I do a lot of thinking because I spend a lot of time alone. And I've just been thinking lately that, like, maybe if we all talk to each other and, talk this through, maybe we'd come up with a reason why things are the way they are now. And maybe, if we're lucky, what to do about it. So anyway, love you, mean it. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.